Welcome to the Homegrown Haven. In August of 2025, my husband Carl and I, with our 2-year-old son George and Cocker Spaniel Arnie, moved into our forever home in Herefordshire. A bungalow in need of refurbishment and a 1-acre garden in need of some serious TLC. There is so much work to do, but we are not alone. My parents, Martin and Cheryl, are sharing the adventure as 3 generations live under one roof, sharing love, laughter and hard work as we create a family home and a kitchen garden. A no-dig approach to growing organic fruit and veg. If this approach interests you, we would love you to like, subscribe and follow us as we make our ambitions a reality.
Well, hello and welcome back to another week on the Homegrown Haven. Lovely sunny day, a bit icy, but I'll take it. A lot been happening this week. It's mostly been about the patio. Dave the builder, our neighbour, and I have been laying the last of the slabs and importantly cutting around the edge. The edge is quite a stark straight line, and some of the slabs were only an inch or two over the edge, so it was quite a delicate operation, but it went very well. Can't say the same for the grouting. We had a bit of a disaster. He tried a new product and it didn't work, but enough said about that. We're back to the drawing board. So the last part of that patio is the grouting, and we've still to do that. Whether we do it today or not, I don't know. I'll wait to see if Dave appears. Anyway, on the gardening side, big day today. I'm hoping later to be able to coax some of the family out of the nice warm house. There's a couple of things I want to do. First and foremost, I'm going to sow some carrots. It might be a little bit early. I see other people have already sown theirs a week or two ago, but here it's quite cold in the mornings. But I do it by covering them. Once I've sown the carrots, I cover them to exclude the light and the rain, and then give them a week to germinate. So the fact that there's cold mornings, hopefully the cover will keep them cosseted and comfortable. So that's the carrots. The next thing I want to do is start sowing our second early Charlotte potatoes, and I'll show you where I'm going to do that in a second. And then the third thing I want to do today is create the planting holes for the butternuts and maybe even the pumpkins. We'll see how I get on. So let me show you where that's going to be taking place. Now I have 5 raised beds. I only had enough wood to create 4 mesh covers. That may change in the future, but the 4 mesh covers are now made and on the beds. And this one where I'm starting, that's got a mesh cover, but it's also got this piece of plywood sat over it in preparation. And there is a slight frost on that piece of wood, you can see. So that's where I'm going to be sowing my carrots. And I've got quite a lot of carrot seed, so I'm prepared to lose some by going too early. We'll see. Next to that is what I call the long bed. The long bed here has been covered in plastic for a few months now, although I have noticed when the plastic gets ripped off by the wind that there are quite a few weeds underneath, so we'll have to do some hoeing. And that's where we're going to sow the second early Charlotte potatoes using the no-dig method. So I'm literally going to use a trowel, pop the potatoes in trowel depth, and then as the potato plants grow, I'll earth them up using what I've got, either soil, grass clippings or whatever comes to hand. We shall see, but I'm going to try that this year. That's a new thing on me, following Charles Dowding's example. So that's the job for today. The second early potatoes are going in. And then down from the main no-dig beds, I have these 2 areas of plastic sheeting. They've stayed as plastic sheeting for 2 reasons. One, we've already spent a lot of money on the beds we have, and we just felt that we'd done enough this year. And secondly, I did it on my allotment previous to owning this land, and we just grew the pumpkins and the butternuts across the plastic. And obviously it suppresses the weeds, it makes the soil warm, it serves a number of purposes, all of which are very conducive with growing squashes. So the butternuts and the squashes are going in these 2 areas, one here and the one over there. And along the edges I'm going to have the pots which will hold my main crop potatoes, and I'll plant them probably in a month's time, maybe 2. And those are, I believe, Cara and Maris Piper. So there's another job today. I'm going to create some planting holes along the edge of this plastic and then plant the squashes through the plastic into the planting holes, which I will fill with what compost we've already created. Right, obviously there's a lot of work to be done there, so the first thing to do is have a brew. But before I do, let me show you the patio as it stands now. Well, it's early morning and the shadows don't help, but you can see there a nice straight edge that Dave's managed to achieve with the grinder wheel. It's quite a delicate operation because we didn't want the bits that were overhanging to drop and snap, so I had to hold them. So I had my fingers an inch away from a cut-off wheel, which was quite interesting, but it was a complete success. It's a lovely straight edge, and they do look very nice now against the home lodge. Just got the painful task and slow process of grouting to go, but it's all coming together and it looks spectacular. Right, that's the ground hoed, raked, and that's 42 second early salad potatoes Charlotte, spaced out, ready to go in the ground. And I have tested one and it goes in fine. This soil all came from the Home Lodge excavations, so very pleased that it can be used. It's a bit stony, but we'll sort that out over the coming years. Now I've got to find somebody to dig them in for me. Another skill I'm trying to develop is interplanting to maximise the use of the ground available, because this isn't a large plot yet. So in between these garlic I've planted all my radishes and I've sown more. So successional planting and interplanting, and we'll see how they do. Interestingly, a bit of fungi coming up here, which is the site of a couple of self-seeded saplings that we chopped down last summer, and I'm guessing that's a consequence of the stumps. I don't think they do any harm to crops. If you know better, let me know before I poison my family. Lovely to see growth on the blueberries that I transplanted. They all seem to have been successful. And if you grow fruits and vegetables, you'll know what I mean when I say I never tire of seeing the new growth in spring, which means plants have survived the winter. This is a raspberry called Cascade Delight, and they're all showing signs of regrowth. Wonderful. There's life in the Home Lodge. She's definitely getting the hang of the blinds now. Right, so the cane marks the spot, and when I've finished all 6 or 7, however many I do, holes filled with semi-rotted compost, I'll pull the plastic back across, the canes will stick out, and then I'll know where to plant the butternuts or the pumpkin plants in April, May, when I get around to it, when the weather's hotter. So it's a laborious job. I'll probably do a couple today, but I've got plenty of time. I've got at least a month before they need to go in, and I'll finish them at my leisure. Just like to take this opportunity to thank one of our subscribers, David, for explaining to me the process or the technique of notching, of creating a tiny, as he put it, fingernail notch in above a bud to create a new branch. I've done a little more research, and yeah, you can really dictate how a tree develops and where the branches are. So I've taken your advice, David, and I have notched some of these step over trees to see if I can't create the branches exactly where I want them. So thank you for that. Never heard of that before. Learning all the time. Thank you, David. Well, everybody's gone out on this lovely day. So Martin, looks like you're planting 42 Charlotte potatoes. Let's crack on. Right, I've done 2 of the 6 holes. I've planted the 42 Charlotte potatoes, and now I'm going to plant some, or sow some carrots. Hopefully you can see that some of the sand that I had left over from the patio has gone into this bed, so it's got a lot of leaf mould. It's been sieved of all the stones and glass, and now it's had sand put in it. So I'm going to sow this up with carrots now. This variety is called Nantes 5. There's 1,000 seeds in here, so they should, if I sow them thinly enough, do more than one bed. My experience is I'm unable to sow them thinly enough. We shall see. So I've pre-watered the bed, and I've created a small groove. I've got cuts on this thumb which renders it useless, so excuse me. Yeah, I've created a groove, shallow groove about ½ an inch deep, and then I'm trying to sow them as thinly as I can. What I'll then do is I'll put some pre-bought fine compost on top, because these are very delicate seeds. Then I'll put the mesh over, and then I'll put this plywood board over, and the board will stay over them for a week, after which time I'll remove it, and hopefully within another week I'll see some germination. We shall see. Right, that will do for now. Now, like I say, some very fine general purpose compost to cover the seeds. Right, I'll carry on with this. Rather mundane task, and I'll show you at the end. Right, that's the whole bed sowed. About 10 rows of Nantes carrots. That board will stay on for 7 days, and then we'll see what we've got. Job done. Well, it's Sunday morning now. Just done a run to the tip to get rid of all the waste from the patio, and I've decided, for better or for worse, these multi-sown beetroot boltardi, sown on the 15th of February. Today's the 29th of March, I think. These are going out, and I'll re-sow and keep the succession going. But first, a cup of tea. Job done. Multi-sown boltardi beetroot, sown on the 15th of Feb and planted today, the 29th of March. Right, I'm in the greenhouse. That's obvious, I suppose. And I'm looking at ways of improving what I do and getting better. And one of the ways that I think I can improve is to save on the amount of potting compost I use. Seed sowing compost, it's expensive, it's getting more expensive, so how you use it makes a difference. Now these little trays, we bought some pelargoniums and geraniums in, very small plants. Well, I potted them on when I got them home, and that's how they're all looking now, quite well developed. So that saved us money by buying them small. But I'm reusing these trays. These are a cabbage called cabbage. A tiny amount of compost, and when they're a little bit bigger I'll prick them out, pop them on, and that will have saved a considerable amount of compost. Another job I've got now, these are the crimson plum tomato, so they're blight resistant, not particularly good germination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh there's 8 plants, and there were 10 seeds, and they're looking a bit worse for wear, so I'm going to pop them on, take them back in the house and keep them on a windowsill for about another month, I would guess. So I'm going to do that now. It's quite cold today. That's the trouble with these early spring months. The weather can lull you, can't it? You think, spring is here, and then it regresses and the cold temperatures come back. It was down about 2 degrees overnight, so you've got to be cautious and careful and love your plants and look after them. But I'm very pleased with the way the garden's going. It's nice to see some crops going in the ground, albeit very slowly. Nice to see some carrots sown. We'll see what happens with them. Parsnips will be next in April. I'm very happy. Yeah, it's going very well, and it's down to one thing, the fact that I'm now all but retired. Tomorrow is my last working paid day. I say paid because I've never worked as hard as I have in this garden, but I love every minute of it. So thank you for joining us. Thanks if you've subscribed. Mum's very happy, a couple of weeks now into, 2 weeks today into her new home, and she's getting more and more familiar with it as every day passes. She's almost worked out how to use a TV now. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.